The man slipped into the auditorium the way he slipped into most places in life, quietly, carefully, hoping not to be noticed. His shoulders were slightly hunched, not from age but from years of bending, scrubbing, lifting, and carrying the weight of a world that had never stopped pressing down on him. He wore a faded blue janitor's uniform, freshly washed but still marked by time, and his hands were rough, scarred, and trembling as he held a folded graduation program. He had not come to be seen. He had come to see his son. He did not know that within minutes, a single glimpse of ink on his skin would shatter the silence, stop a Navy captain in his tracks, and make a room full of strangers cry. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet heroes who walk among us unnoticed, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring stories like this to light. The single dad's name was Daniel Mercer, though most people at the high school knew him only as the janitor who worked nights. He cleaned the hallways after football games, wiped chalk dust from blackboards long after the teachers had gone home, and emptied trash cans filled with the remnants of teenage dreams and carelessness. He had raised his son, Ethan, alone since the boy was 6 years old, after his wife passed away suddenly from an illness that came fast and left devastation behind. From that day forward, Daniel's life became a routine of sacrifice. He worked 2 jobs for years, sometimes 3, sleeping in short bursts, eating meals standing up in break rooms, and measuring his own needs as unnecessary luxuries. His purpose narrowed to a single point: make sure Ethan had a chance at a life better than his own. Ethan grew up knowing his father as a quiet man who never complained. He knew the smell of cleaning chemicals clinging to his dad's clothes and the way Daniel's hands would ache so badly in winter that he struggled to button his coat. Daniel attended every parent meeting he could, always sitting in the back, always listening more than speaking. He never told Ethan about the nightmares that still woke him some nights or the memories he carried like lockboxes in his chest. He never spoke about the tattoo on his left forearm, usually hidden beneath long sleeves, faded but still unmistakable if seen. It was a mark from another life, one Daniel believed no longer mattered. Graduation day arrived bright and loud, filled with laughter, camera flashes, and proud families dressed in their best clothes. Daniel finished his early morning shift mopping the gym floors and polishing railings, then went to the staff bathroom to wash his face and change into a clean shirt beneath his uniform jacket. He could not afford a suit, and he did not want Ethan to feel embarrassed by him, so he planned to sit far in the back, slip in unnoticed, and leave before anyone paid attention. His heart pounded as he entered the auditorium, scanning the rows until he found Ethan's name on the program. When he spotted his son among the graduates, tall, confident, wearing a cap and gown that seemed to glow, Daniel's eyes filled with tears he quickly wiped away. This moment was not about him. It was about the boy who had survived grief, hardship, and years of watching his father work himself to exhaustion. What Daniel did not expect was the presence of a Navy captain sitting near the aisle, invited as a guest speaker to honor graduates entering military service. The captain was a broad-shouldered man with silver hair and a posture shaped by decades of discipline. He scanned the crowd with a practiced eye, acknowledging families with polite nods, until his gaze fell on Daniel as the janitor moved past him to find a seat. For just a second, Daniel's jacket sleeve pulled back, revealing the faded tattoo on his forearm. It was a unit insignia, old and worn, inked over scar tissue that spoke of battles long past. The captain froze, his breath catching in his chest as recognition hit him with the force of a wave. The ceremony began, but the captain's attention was no longer on the stage. His mind raced through memories he had tried to bury in dust-filled air, shouted orders, faces of men he had once served beside. That tattoo was not common. It belonged to a unit known only to those who had lived through its missions. A group that operated in silence and shadows. A unit many believed lost years ago during a classified operation that ended in tragedy. The captain remembered one name above all others. A man who had saved lives at the cost of his own future. A man officially listed as discharged and forgotten. A man he had assumed was gone. Daniel sat down, unaware of the storm he had stirred. As the principal spoke about achievements and futures, Daniel's thoughts drifted back over the years. He remembered nights when the fridge was almost empty, when he pretended he was not hungry so Ethan could eat. He remembered skipping doctor appointments for himself so he could pay for school supplies. He remembered the humiliation of being looked down on, mistaken for someone without value, and the quiet pride he felt every time Ethan came home smiling, talking about college plans and dreams of service. Daniel never told his son that he once wore a uniform too, or that he had once been called a hero. To him, that chapter ended when his wife died and he chose a different kind of duty. When Ethan's name was finally called, Daniel stood in the back, clapping softly, his chest tight with emotion. He watched his son walk across the stage, accept his diploma, and smile out at the crowd. In that smile, Daniel saw every sacrifice made worthwhile. He sat back down, ready to leave as soon as the applause faded, when he noticed movement in the aisle. The Navy captain was standing, his eyes locked on Daniel, his face pale and wet with tears he did not bother to hide. Murmurs rippled through the audience as the captain walked toward the back row, ignoring the confused looks and whispers. The captain stopped in front of Daniel, who looked up, startled and embarrassed, instinctively pulling his sleeve down. The room seemed to hold its breath. The captain's hands shook as he reached out, then stopped himself, standing at attention instead. His composure broke as tears streamed down his face, and the audience fell silent, sensing that something extraordinary was unfolding. The captain nodded slowly, deeply, as if honoring someone unseen, and then turned to the microphone with permission from the organizers, his voice unsteady but clear. He spoke of service and sacrifice, of men who never came home and of those who did but carried their battles quietly. He spoke of a soldier who saved an entire team during a mission gone wrong, who took on injuries and blame to protect others, who vanished from records and recognition because the world was not ready to acknowledge what had happened. He spoke of how heroes do not always stand on stages or wear medals, how some of them clean floors at night and raised children alone, never asking for thanks. As he spoke, all eyes turned to Daniel, whose face burned with shame and disbelief. He had never wanted this. He had buried that identity for a reason. The captain finished by saluting Daniel, a gesture so full of respect that it brought the audience to its feet. Applause thundered through the auditorium, not the polite kind reserved for ceremonies, but the kind that came from deep emotion. Parents cried, graduates stood frozen, watching history and humility collide. Ethan turned from the stage, confused at first, then horrified when he recognized his father at the center of attention. But as the captain's words sank in, Ethan's expression changed. Pride flooded his face, followed by tears he did not bother to hide. For the first time, he saw his father not just as the tired man who worked too much, but as someone who had lived a life of courage and pain he had never known. Daniel wanted to disappear. He wanted to tell everyone it was a mistake, that he was just a janitor, just an ad. But as the applause continued, something shifted inside him. He realized that hiding had not protected his son, it had only hidden a truth that could inspire him. When the ceremony ended, people approached Daniel quietly, shaking his hand, thanking him. The captain spoke to him privately, his voice breaking as he apologized for not finding him sooner, for letting the system forget him. Daniel listened, nodding, feeling old wounds stir, but also feeling a strange sense of release. Outside, under the bright sky, Ethan finally reached his father. He did not need explanations or stories. He hugged Daniel tightly, holding on as if afraid to let go. In that embrace, years of unspoken understanding passed between them. Daniel realized that his son did not see him as weak or embarrassing. He saw him as strong, as someone worth becoming. The future suddenly looked different. Opportunities were discussed, recognition offered, but Daniel's focus remained on Ethan. Whatever came next, they would face it together. As the crowd dispersed, Daniel looked back at the school he had cleaned for so many years. For the first time, he stood tall. He was still a janitor. He was still a single father. But he was also a man whose quiet sacrifices had shaped a life and touched countless others without them ever knowing. That day was not about medals or applause. It was about truth finally being seen. If this story touched your heart, If it reminded you of the unseen sacrifices made by parents, veterans, or everyday heroes, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach others who need hope. Before this story ends, we have one special request. Please comment below and tell us who the quiet hero in your life is. Someone who deserves recognition even if they never asked for it. Daniel left the graduation with his son walking beside him, the weight on his shoulders lighter than it had been in years. He knew life would still be hard, that bills would still come and work would still be demanding. But he also knew that being seen, even for a moment, had given his son a gift far greater than money or status. It had given him truth, pride, and the understanding that dignity does not come from titles, but from love and sacrifice. And as father and son stepped into the sunlight, the world felt just a little more just, a little more kind, and a lot more hopeful.